Your Excellencies, Ambassadors, members of the European Parliament, and Latvian Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the High Symposium on the EU-Japan cooperation, common challenges and perspectives. It is organized by the Ministries of Foreign Affairs of Latvia and Japan and supported by the European External Action Service. Thank you to all of you for the joining of the symposium today, and especially our gratitude goes to the distinguished speakers, moderators and the organizers of the symposium. My name is Andrejs, and I am a Director General of Bilateral Relations of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Latvia, and I will be chairing this symposium. The symposium is an associated event of the Latvian presidency at the Council of the European Union. Therefore, I invite you to take a look at the short symbolic video message of Latvian presidency, please.
So, it's Latvia's turn to take over the presidency of the Council of the European Union. What should you know about the country that's going to lead its 27 sisters for the next 6 months? Let's start with something a true leader needs: honesty. So here it is. Your next leader is flat in landscape, quiet in temper, cold in temperature, and small in size. Small is not a bad thing. It means that we are used to looking at things more closely. We polish, we angle, we untangle, and we fine-tune until everything is just right. We pay attention to detail, and as we all know, the devil is in the detail. Honestly, our winters are cold. For 6 months of the year, it is actually snowing here. However, winter has taught us to think ahead and to be prepared for both easy times and hard ones. It's called planning. To be honest, almost everything is flat in Latvia. We don't have the highest waterfall, but we do have a really wide one. So we look far, we look wide, and we don't like our vision to be hampered by anything closer than the horizon. Also, our landscape gives us plenty of room for imagination, which leads to creativity, which in turn leads to arts and innovation. It's true, we didn't invent the internet, but we do have one of the fastest internet speeds in the world, and we need it to spread the word about our culture, from one of the greatest collections of Art Nouveau architecture in Riga, to the largest choir festival in the world, to modern art, to world-famous opera singers and ballet dancers. Without making much noise, we've given the world some of its finest classical musicians. And we say almost nothing about our food, but it's just because we've learned that it's not polite to speak with a full mouth. Our food is to be enjoyed, not to be discussed. To be honest, about 50% of Latvia is not covered in forests, which means that the other 50% is. That's why Latvians are a bit closer to nature than the average European finds normal. We drill birch trees for sap, we pick all kinds of mushrooms and eat them. We shock our immune systems by jumping from hot saunas into ice-cold lakes and back again. The truth is, we don't always smile, but when we do, it comes from the heart. Latvians are kind of like coconuts. We may be kind of hard on the outside, but when you crack the shell, you'll find a truly friendly soul.
Pleased to meet you, honestly.
So, pleased to meet you honestly. Ladies and gentlemen, we have two distinguished officials from Latvia and Japan among us today to open the symposium. So I'm honored to give the floor to the State Secretary of MFA of Latvia, Mr. Andrejs Pildegovičs. Please, the floor is yours.
Ohio gozaimasu. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Ambassador Semanis, for the very warm welcome. Members of the Latvian Parliament, European Parliament, distinguished members of academia. I am very much honored to address you all on the occasion of this high-level symposium on EU-Japan strategic cooperation, on the common challenges, perspectives, and the very broad, like-minded vision of the world which we are trying to construct together. I would like to thank everyone External Action Service, from EU member states, and of course from the Japanese delegation in Brussels and here. Referring to the nature of European-Japan relations, I'm truly pleased to call them strategic. I'm truly pleased to call them very deep, and it is our ambition to facilitate as much as possible the further evolution of this modern partnership during our 6 months of the presidency. We hope that free trade negotiations will proceed and the framework agreement will be concluded sooner than later, and we hope very much that this year, 2015, will make a difference and will bring us closer to the conclusion of those negotiations. I am very happy that during our presidency we will make a concerted effort to bring closer EU 28 and the major Asian powers closer on the most important areas of cooperation. We are planning to host 2 ministerial events on ASEM level, those Big Tent events, and I'm meaning ministers of education and science and ministers of transportation, meeting here in Riga in April, and we very much hope that those events will help also to involve new partners, countries like Kazakhstan. And this format will be also used to engage Russia in this quite difficult and important moment. I would like to flag that Latvia values very much relations with Japan, which go back to 1921. These relations have matured since 1990, when we regained our independence, and we are very much pleased how this format is evolving. Our leaders have met in Milano in October last year, Nordic Baltic 8 with Prime Minister Abe, and we very much hope that in the coming years, bilaterally and regionally, our ties will prosper more and more. I mentioned transportation. Of course, in that sense, we very much welcome cooperation with Japan. One of the largest investments in Riga last year have been made from Japan, and we think that this is the US embassy opened in Riga is from South Korea, and we very much see ourselves as facilitators for building these strategic ties between East Asia, rising powers of East Asia, and the European countries. I would like to make a few comments about the areas where we see a lot of like-mindedness. And first of all, our very dedicated, very energetic position regarding countries of Eastern Partnership and countries of Central Asia. During our EU presidency, we very much would like to put an emphasis on building ties, on revising the strategy of ENP, European Neighborhood Policy, regarding 6 countries of Eastern Partnership. And we would like to make this policy more flexible, more tailor-made to the ambitions, to the interests, to the appetite of all 6 countries. Some want to have more deep integration with Europe, like countries as Moldova, Georgia, Ukraine, be it. Some countries want to be more selective. They want to maybe move forward with slower speed to take some specific areas of cooperation. We think that we should be open for that as well. And we hope that in May, in Riga, during the Eastern Partnership Summit, we will send this very strong political message that Europe has a strategy for the neighborhood. Europe has a policy, and we are revising, adapting this policy according to the needs of the time. But before we meet in May here in Riga, of course it's very important that we help to stabilize the situation in Ukraine, which is the biggest conflict in Europe since collapse of the Soviet Union and Yugoslavia. And we firmly believe that every civilized country, every civilized democracy has to make a statement and to make an effort to calm down the situation and to restore peace as soon as possible. Of course, European powers are engaged in negotiations right now. Leaders of Europe are talking in Kiev and in Moscow as we speak, but we would welcome very much if countries of afar and of course strategic partners, like-minded countries like Japan, will also make a stance. And we will have to pledge and offer support to Ukraine in the meantime to restore peace, to restore economy. And I would like to flag that probably in March we will have a EU-Ukraine summit, and in the month of April we plan an investment conference in Kiev to help Ukrainian nation to restore stability, to revive growth, and of course that would need a concerted effort. I would like also to flag that we value very much partnership with Japan on Central Asia. In many respects, Japan has been a pioneer in shaping regional policy towards Central Asia. Japan has been a major donor, provider of support, facilitator of economic growth in the area. Japan has managed for the first time to put together all 5 countries of Central Asia at one table. And we follow Japanese example very much. We study your experience, and for the first time in the history of the Union, we have put Central Asia on the top of our agenda list, and we will try to, this year, during our presidency, to make a revision of Central Asia policy as well. We very much hope that the Office of EU Special Representative for Central Asia will be restored soon within our EU presidency. And we put 3 major agenda items on the table in Central Asia. Of course, facilitation of security dialogue, concerted efforts to strengthen counter-narcotic fight, border management. Latvia will be a leading nation for the so-called Bonga 9 initiative to help countries of Central Asia to upgrade their border management capacities. We will put an emphasis on education, and I'm a little bit in a fundraising mood. I want to flag again that we have launched last year an initiative by 4 Latvian universities, consortium of universities in Riga School of Law, Latvian University, Stradiņš University, and the Riga School of Economics, to facilitate modern training of diplomats, officials, experts from the countries of Eastern Partnership, Central Asia and the Balkans, and we would very much welcome supporters to this initiative from Europe and Japan and other like-minded allies. And transportation again, as I mentioned before, we think that modern means of communication and this very broad new term called connectivity is definitely one of the most important subjects where we should, could and ought to cooperate. I know that you have a few panels ahead of during this seminar. I would not go further into the details, but I very much welcome this seminar. I thank everyone who pledged support to this event. I'm so happy that we have such an impressive crowd, and knowing how many competing events are in Riga today, and knowing that as we speak, big discussion on energy union is going on in the library of Latvia in Riga, I'm very happy that still so many of us are interested on the topics of EU-Japan relations, on the topics of Eastern Partnership and Central Asia. So thank you so much, and I wish you a stimulating debate. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Secretary of State, for your thoughtful and strategic speech and address of the audience. And now I am honored to give the floor to His Excellency, Mr. Toshiyuki Taga, Ambassador of Japan to the Republic of Latvia. Ambassador, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair, Ambassador Semanis. The State Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Latvia, His Excellency Mr. Andrejs, Pildegovičs, and distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen. Today it is my great pleasure to say a few words at the opening of the high-level symposium on EU-Japan cooperation, common challenges and perspectives, organized jointly by the Japanese and Latvian Ministries of Foreign Affairs in Latvia. In Latvia, a country that has been demonstrating its strong sense of presence in the international community, now in particular as the presiding country of the European Union for the first semester of 2015. The symposium takes place today thanks to the efforts and assistance of the government staff of Latvia, the presiding country of EU. I'd like to express my gratitude to everyone who worked with zeal and enthusiasm to organize this event in rather short period of preparation. The symposium will be divided into 3 sessions. The first session will address EU-Japan cooperation. I'm looking forward to a discussion on a broad range of subjects, including issues in economic fields, such as, most notably, the Japan-EU Economic Partnership Agreement, currently in the process of negotiations. The theme of second session is EU-Eastern Partnership and cooperation with Central Asian countries. Japan, as well as Latvia, has been involved in various activities in these regions. The possibilities of any kind of future enhanced Japan-EU collaborative actions in the region will be the subject of what I hope to be a vigorous discussion during this session. The third session is devoted to the security environment in East Asia. During the last couple of years, and not to mention the recent events, the security situation in East Asia has been becoming increasingly severe, and the countries concerned have been forced to take necessary measures to cope with the new situation. Just as the efforts of the situation in Ukraine is not limited to Europe, there is a geopolitical situation arising in East Asia that could have a significant negative impact on the international community as a whole. The government of Japan would like European countries to have a deeper understanding of this situation. 3 experts of Japan will be taking part in this symposium as panelists. Detailed information about them will be presented during each session. However, I'd like to take this opportunity to give a short introduction of these panelists. First, my colleague, His Excellency Mr. Keiichi Katakami, Ambassador of Japan to the European Union in Brussels. Ambassador Katakami has been deeply involved in EU-Japan relationship for a long time. After serving as Director General of Economic Affairs Bureau of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Tokyo until last summer, and during which time he made his contribution in our own way, to facilitate the accession of Latvia to OECD. He now continues to play an important role in the ongoing negotiations of Japan-EU EPA, Economic Partnership Agreement, in Brussels. We have also invited 2 representatives of the Japanese academia, Dr. Ken Endo and Endo-san, could you Dr. Endo, professor in international politics from Hokkaido University in Japan, and Dr. Yuichi Hosoya, professor of Keio University in Tokyo, Japan. Professor Endo and Hosoya are both among the country's most prominent researchers in the fields of world politics and EU-Japan relations, making numerous contributions in publication and as well as in mass media. I would like to express my gratitude to the professors for finding time in the busy schedule to participate in this symposium. And finally, I'd like to express my gratitude to all the participants and the people in the audience for their keen interest. Although there's compared to the other events, but still many people were kind enough to come to express their interest in Japan-EU relationship. And lastly and not least, I take this opportunity to thank the government of Latvia. As you may be aware, there were hostage incidents in Syria where 2 Japanese citizens were killed. And Prime Minister of Latvia, Mrs. Stragma, was kind enough to send her message to Prime Minister Abe, expressing her condolences to the family and showing us strong solidarity with Japanese people. And I take this opportunity to thank the government of Latvia. I hope that everyone in this hall will utilize this precious opportunity and will actively participate in the discussion. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Ambassador, for your introductory words. Thank you so much for your vision, the symposium, structured symposium and tasks, and introducing of distinguished speakers from Japan. On behalf of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I would like to express our gratitude for your personal and outstanding input, stimulating and developing relations between Japan and Latvia and Japan and European Union.